So if you've been watching this channel for a while, then you know that I do not manage Google Ads accounts. Instead, I consult on Google Ads accounts. So I pick up the phone and I answer for business owners that are stuck. They're tired of watching YouTube. Maybe their freelancer isn't doing what they need to do. They're not getting the results. Or they just have a question and they're consulting AI and they don't know where to go next. That is exactly who I serve. I also do second looks where I just look at the account. I make an entire video. I map out a plan. I tell the business owner exactly what to do next. And then obviously my biggest service that oddly I sell the most of, which is where I build the account from scratch. And they train the company how to manage their own account. So they're delivered this asset and they never have to pay another retainer and hire an agency again. And when I very first started my business, one of the ways that I was able to get clients is I presented online like I managed accounts, right? I would talk about managing a lot. And this wasn't necessarily on purpose. I wasn't meaning to pull the wool over anyone's eyes, but what it was that I was coming out of the agency world where I had been managing accounts. And so naturally, I tended to talk about managing accounts. So I was attracting clients that came to me asking me to manage their Google Ads. And what I would do is I would get on the phone and then I would say, well, did you know you could do this yourself? And you don't have to pay me, $5,000 a month or $2,000 a month or whatever the retainer would have been on that size of account. And a lot of times I would say, okay. And that's how I got my first couple training clients. But I always felt a little bad doing the bait and switch because I did get my share of clients that were like, no, we'll just find another freelancer. And I also felt like I was competing constantly against freelancers willing to charge $500 a month to manage the account. Like it just wasn't really where I wanted to be. And so slowly over time, as my business grew, I shifted. But that being said, I think one thing that I think is really, really worth noting is the time that it takes to manage a Google Ads account. Because I actually had a really interesting situation, which was, it kind of makes me laugh looking back on it, but a lead came to me and wanted me to manage their ads account. And again, I said, I don't manage the account. You could do this yourselves. And they would be the absolute 100% perfect client to manage it themselves. And they looked at me like I was silly and said, oh, we don't have time for that, and just walked away. Found a new freelancer. And the interesting part is they came back to me a year later and maybe forgot they had reached out to me to begin with. And they were having the same problem that they had been having a year ago, despite choosing a new freelancer to manage it for them. So in this video, I want to talk about that feeling and that objection and that feeling in your gut, like you don't want to do Google Ads because you feel like it just takes so much time. I want to talk about why that is not accurate in today's day and world and what it actually means, and why, if you're sitting there and you're feeling that anxiety, like you can't possibly do this, you have no time, you're busy running your own business, there's no way you can make this work, it is just something that you really, really have so much anxiety about. I want to start to shift your thinking a little bit about how the platform works today and what you would expect and not expect, and how much actual time this takes, and why this is a better position for you to look at versus outsourcing to someone else. So essentially, it's what I wish I said to my client at the time. But again, I didn't either have the words for it, or maybe I don't know, maybe I felt like they were just not ready to hear it. But I wish I could have said it, if that makes sense. Because sometimes as a business owner and someone who knows something and who's the expert, you can really sense when someone's not ready to hear the truth. They're just not there yet in their evolution. And so they maybe had to go through a third or a fourth freelancer and not see success before realizing, yeah, maybe I should do this myself. So I think in ordinary Google Ads, we think about logging in, coffee in hand, looking at Google Ads and making optimizations. And a lot of this belief that we're just optimizing our account comes from, the past 15 years of content. I mean, it's what we talked about, how to optimize your campaigns, how to optimize a Performance Max campaign, how to optimize a demand gen campaign. And yeah, there absolutely is optimization work to be done in these accounts, but it is no longer an all day, everyday thing. I used to be able to spend an entire day optimizing an account. And even then, a lot of what I was doing was outside the ads platform. I was pulling down spreadsheets, I was running data. But it's not only that the bidding algorithms do that. It's that the tools that we have are able to do that analysis significantly faster at this point in time. But it's also that those insights are bubbled up for us a lot of times in the platform. And so it's not necessarily what it used to be, where we're sitting there analyzing data. We also have things that are a lot more fragmented in today's day and age. So again, that work that used to be done more by hand simply isn't happening anymore and is no longer necessary and is overkill for any type of account that I've been running, at least in the past 5 years. And I also think there's a lie that doing more work equals more revenue in the bank. Sometimes the stronger thing to do in a campaign is to simply look at it, see the data, understand it's working, and then be able to step back and walk away. I always say no decision is a decision when it comes to Google Ads. So you can open that up. You can do that on your mobile app. You don't have to even log into a desktop and just check, okay, it's working. Things are happening. This is what I'm looking at. Okay, we're good, and move on. It doesn't have to be a big thing. This shouldn't be taking hours and hours of the day. I would say for most of the clients I work with, we're talking 15, 20 minutes a day, making sure it's not broken, making sure everything's okay. But they also have a great setup, a clean setup. They understand what's happening in their account and where they're going at the time after they've finished working with me. So that is where I leave my clients at that point in time. And so then if you're still thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much work, and you know that actual work is happening, then where's the problem? The problem is in your strategy. Because I find when I look at accounts where the person is telling me, oh my gosh, it's so much work, what they're doing is they're pausing campaigns, they're pausing ad groups, they're pausing keywords, they're changing bids and keywords manually, and they're doing a lot of work that simply is not necessary. And it all stems from not having a clear strategy. When you have a clear path forward, when you know exactly where you are in your Google Ads journey and where you're going, you are not having to start and stop campaigns, start and stop ad groups, start and stop keywords, doing manual bidding or anything of the sort. You are marching in a direction of a certain goal. And then when you achieve that goal, you're moving on to the next step. So it is a lot of a do and wait process. It's not a do process. It's not a time. It's make sure that it's still heading in the direction where it was set to go. Okay, check the box, move on with your day, run your business, enjoy the rest of the day, and make sure things are happening in the back end within the business to align with what the ads are doing on the front end. And so really, if you're not running a massive e-com store with sales running on certain products at certain times, fluctuating inventory, data feeds, products going in and out of stock, images that needed to be changed seasonally based on what promotions are being run, based on the brand team, based on flighting, then you are probably not on a high-touch Google Ads account. And micromanaging it is going to cause more problems. And so what I often see is this constant tweaking is anxiety, and the person behind the constant tweaking is doing that and thinking they're being productive. But it's a Band-Aid over a strategy problem. Again, we've set where we're going. We know where we're going. We're validated. We're still heading in that direction. It's sort of like if you are driving a car to California, are you going to check at every single point in time that you're still going to California? No, you have your GPS running, might glance at it. Okay, time's ticking down, less hours. I'm heading in the right direction. You know that you're going to get there eventually. That is exactly how Google Ads works today. It is a very, very, very strong, this is what I've told it to do. This is what it's going to do type of platform. So then what is your role? What is that anxiety that you're feeling, thinking that this is so hard or that there's so much work to do? And what your role really is to be that air traffic controller. And saying that your job is to be that air traffic controller is a statement that we use within the Google Ads community to train people who have been doing Google Ads for forever. And we tell people who are used to that manual work, your role has shifted. You are now in charge of air traffic control, and you are no longer that mechanic, that every single day tweaking, adjusting human being. And it is a role that even Google Ads managers who are used to everything hands-on have struggled with. I think we as Google Ads experts are further along in it than somebody maybe who isn't in the industry all day and is just paying attention enough to be able to run Google Ads at a basic level for their business. Someone like you on the other end of this. But for us, the people who have been doing this all day, this is the language that we've been using internally, is you learn to become more of an air traffic controller and less of a mechanic over time. And when you accept this, that growth comes from your landing page, your business processes, and again, your ability to hold tight to the direction that you're going. You're driving to California in your Google Ads. I'm not going to check every single time and question the route that I'm taking and question every little nuance and question if I should be in this car lane or that car lane. I'm just going to go. I'm going to set the GPS. I'm going to make sure the time is ticking down, and that is where I'm headed. And then when I get there, this is the next step in my evolution of Google Ads and how I take my business to the next level. So should you be checking your account? Absolutely. Again, there's the mobile app for it. I have it running on my phone. I like to log in first thing in the morning and just check to make sure accounts are up when I am managing, which I am not managing, but I am just saying. I think it's a great morning. It's just look at the ads, make sure, validate, nothing's broken, conversion tracking is still working. Okay, check, move on with my day. But obsessively changing the variables, absolutely not. Starting and stopping campaigns, no thank you. Adding constant keywords over and over, no. Adding constant negatives, which is the reverse of that, again, that is a hard no for me. When it comes to negatives, I think because AI, it's a constant solution in AI. I mean, anytime I write an article and I ask Gemini to clean it up, it'll just add negatives. And I'm like, oh my God. Just adding negatives, maybe it won't hurt your account, but it doesn't need to be as obsessive as I think AI makes it. And I think what it is, it's something people feel like it's tangible that they can do, but it's not necessarily helping because the algorithm will train itself off of it. Do I believe you should have negatives? Yeah, but do you need to be absolutely, completely obsessive about it to the point where that's how you think you're controlling your ads? Absolutely not. Again, art and science. The science of it is knowing when enough is enough. And so your takeaway on this is there is freedom away from the interface. There is business clarity and ultimately better performance from your marketing when you really focus in on your business aspect and know where you're going within Google Ads. So I really hope this video helped anyone who is just sitting there agonizing, thinking about how much time this takes up. I hope this makes you feel better, that it really, really doesn't take up that much time. And if you are complaining and you are worried that it takes up more time, that in itself is a symptom that there is a problem. And, the solution's pretty easily, actually. You could just reach out to me and I'm happy to help and get you on your way or give you that clarity as to where you should go from there and why you're feeling like you constantly need to tweak everything. That is a solution that I offer through my coaching calls and for my clients. And having that peace of mind and having that freedom and understanding that this isn't something that you need to be completely OCD about every day, all day, is very, very freeing for my end clients. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the comments. Have a good day.